Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Welcome back to Houselights, our director discussion show here on the Nerd Party Network. We're entering a new house today with the small house of director Stuart Baird and his directorial debut, 1996's Executive Decision. I'm oddly mission-specific aviation engineer Darren Moser, and I'm joined again by my friends Captain John Cappy Mills and U.S. Air Marshal Tristan Riddell. This is the only way I want to board a transatlantic flight. So we're going to talk about Executive Decision. Oh,
yes, on the same airline.
Guys. I love this.
I just want to say, I want to get it out of the way. The same airline that they crash with on Lost. So
that was the first thing my wife said. She walked into the room right when they get off the runway, and she's like, "Oh, hey, Lost."
Yes.
And then she left the room.
You should have said yes and have her sit down. And then she's like, I don't remember this part. When did people
This is the prequel, baby. Baby, this is the prequel.
We wondered why the plane crashed. It was an executive decision. Oh,
she, like, probably 75% of the time, she'll watch Houselights movies with me.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, right, so I need to watch a movie before Sunday. And she's like, well, which one are you watching? I was like, Executive Decision with Kurt Russell. Okay. Halle Berry. Okay. Steven Seagal. No.
Oh, but it's like Seagal's greatest film role.
Say Steven Seagal. He's barely in it.
I know. It was my mistake. You
should have said she would have sat down and then been happy when he died.
There you go. You could have said veteran character actor J.T. Walsh makes an appearance.
B.D. Wong.
B.D. Wong makes an appearance.
She's a big Father of the Bride fan.
There you go. And Jurassic Park. Who doesn't love Jurassic Park?
So commies. Godless commies. That's who.
That's true.
Well, this movie we watched actually together last year. We try to gather around the internet to watch something every once in a while. And I love this movie, guys. I mean, I'm just going to say right off the top, I'm giving this a 5. I can't not. I got major nostalgia glasses. I watched this movie like a month ago, and I'm like, I'm still gonna watch it today because I love this movie so much. But John, that time we watched it together, I think was the first time you saw it.
Oh,
so
no. I saw this in the movie theater with Joey.
I thought that was your first time too.
Oh my God!
Tell me the Joey story. I need to hear it now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
Joey, I'm sure hated it when he walked out of the theater, right?
No, Joey has the weird man crush for Kurt Russell, as all sane, rational men do, and like
Gen X-Men.
Yeah, right, exactly. But like, we went into it with like super low expectations because Steven Seagal was in the ad campaign. I was like, okay, this is gonna suck, but whatever.
So they showed the first 5 minutes of the movie, and that was it. And you're like,
yeah, and it's like, yeah, whatever, that's fine, okay. And you go in, and like, Steven Seagal dies. You're like, oh damn, all right, yeah, let's get this thing happening. But
like, not only does he die, we see him get sucked out.
Oh yeah, he's not off screen dead. He dead.
No chance whatsoever. But like yeah, it was one of those ones where we were pleasantly surprised. We went in, we watched it, and we were like, I had a pretty good time with that one. It's like, yeah, Kurt Russell had something to do with that. Yeah, probably,
okay,
but cool.
So we'd all seen it before last year, but it was watching it. It's a fun movie to watch together. It really is.
This one, I'm surprised. Actually, I don't know if there isn't, but I'm surprised if there isn't a riff tracks of this movie, because this would have been perfect.
I don't recall ever seeing one, but it does feel like the right kind. So my first viewing, this was a Blockbuster rental, and I think because I remember that cover, the bright reddish, you have the tail fin of the airplane and a giant Kurt Russell head. And I just remember being like, I don't think it's the best cover. I think you could do a better cover that kind of tells what this movie's about.
No. This movie cover told you everything you needed to know. We got Kurt Russell's face. We got the F-117. We got a crew of commandos at the sunset. That's all you need, man. That's all you need to sell a movie. That's all you need to put butts in the seats.
You're not wrong. So I remember picking this up, and I mean, I own it. It's probably one of the first DVDs I own. It has like the cardboard front of the shell, like the cheap ones they made
with
for
the
like
flap,
a
the
tiny,
clamp, not the clamshell, but the
the
flap on the side,
plastic clasp, the plastic clasp with the cardboard. Yeah,
I think I have one with like Twister in that version, which I think was like the first DVD
that would follow
ever posted.
Oh, my Matrix DVD was that way.
Yeah,
like in '99.
It was.
So I've been having this one for a long time. Yeah, love this movie. It's so fun. I will say I recently showed it to my wife, who resisted watching it for a long time. We have a tradition, I don't know where it came from, but on Valentine's Day, I get to pick the movie and she can't say no. And so often I now turn that into showing her guy flicks that she can't say no to. The reason she didn't want to watch this is we are huge David Suchet fans, watching him in Agatha Christie's Poirot. And so for her, she's like, I don't want to watch David Suchet be the bad guy. It's like watching Dick Van Dyke be the bad guy, or like someone you're just so wholesome that you're used to. And I'm like, okay, fair, but I love this movie, so we're still going to watch it. And she survived, but it was it's a guy movie for sure.
I want to say I was
not that girls can't enjoy.
No, I showed this to my 8-year-old. And every so often, remember, don't say that word, honey.
Don't say that.
Yeah,
don't
sure.
say that.
Yeah, don't say that word.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Don't say executive decision.
Oh, and explaining to her how, she's like, so how do they make the fake blood? She actually asked me, she's like, so how do they make the fake blood work? I was like, oh, okay, honey. And like, I went through, I was like,
fake.
you can use,
Decent.
She's kids today are savvy. They get it. But to your point about it being like, like a quote unquote, like guy flick, Grandpa was in the house too. Everybody else was out. And Grandpa's like, nah, I don't want to watch a movie with you. I'm going to do my crosswords. Right. But that sweet siren song of the movie. And he like stood in the doorway. I'm like, you want me to pull you up a chair there, Grandpa? He's like, yeah, I think I'll watch this. And he like watched the back 3/4 of it.
That's a good.
Are you talking about Jerry Goldsmith's score?
No, just the sound, like the gunfire and Kurt Russell's voice. And everything.
He just
heard it, and he was like, he like it triggered something in his old soul that was like, must watch movie, right? And he comes over.
It's that trumpet fanfare. It's got to be the.
But yeah, I think so. But like, what's funny is you're talking about, you didn't want to watch David Suchet. Late into the movie, my 8-year-old. Kurt Russell's there. He's got his flak jacket on. It's unzipped, and so it's vest like. He's got the white shirt, and she says he looks a lot like Han Solo. And I said, he does, doesn't he, honey? And she says, and then she says at the end, but his voice is wrong for it. And I said to myself, I looked at her. I said, well, honey, he actually tested for the role of Han Solo, and she said, yeah. And she just reiterated his voice was wrong for it. But I think that was really slick on her part, where she picked up that Kurt Russell has that same sort of on-screen swagger that Harrison Ford does. And I'm like, that's a pretty smart kid.
I mean, to stay on Kurt Russell for 1 second. Yeah, there is moments in this movie where the I guess Santa Claus Kurt Russell kind of comes out, the happy Kurt Russell, specifically when he recognizes 21K, and they're so freaking excited that they read the number off of her hand correctly. They're like, 29K. And I'm like, okay, guys, chill. Life and death. Just calm down. It's okay. So that happens a couple of times throughout this movie.
That reaction was a little baffling when watching it.
A little much.
There was a few times when in this movie, I'm like, did you forget that the terrorists are right above you?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like we have an Anne Frank situation going on here, and you're screaming for the Nazis to come and find you.
The suspension of disbelief of how they are not heard is kind of the first thing you have to turn on in this movie, because they are climbing, clanking, cutting, doing all sorts of things, and you're like, there's no way in a paper airplane that the passengers are not hearing things going on. But if you suspend that, you're okay.
I once you suspend the disbelief that absolutely nobody will notice the little camera coming through the little pinhole, that I'm hyper aware of everything on an airplane because I hate to fly.
That's not there before. There's a hole in something.
That seems strange. Oh dear.
I'm so glad that you guys brought all this up, because one thing that really bugs me about airplanes in movies, like I'm talking about commercial airplanes, is how freaking quiet they are. Like, it is not quiet whatsoever.
There's
in
like
a
a little bit of a
airline.
background hum, but a little. And you're like, no, you can't hear yourself think.
Yeah.
No, like if I'm talking to the person right next to me, I practically have to scream, and I'm still not bothering anyone around me because I'm screaming. And it's just,
that's just the ambient convincing you of that. But we'll address that on a later
That's
episode.
true. I do fly heavily drugged.
It's
Well,
the
and
only
even
way.
after the hole is made in the airplane, you're not hearing anything. You're hearing jet engine the whole rest of the time. I don't care where you are on that plane. There's nothing you can hear. But
I'll give credit to the 8-year-old again, because he went upstairs, so there's no pressure problems with the hole that's been punched in the plane.
Yeah,
everything's quiet and everything.
True.
And she actually says to me, "Why isn't the air? Did they close anything?" And I said, "Just roll." I actually said to my child, "Just roll with it, honey. It's fine." And she did. She was just like, "That's fine."
Also, like when the whatever the sleeve, I think is what they called it, was connecting to the
adapter.
The pressure adapter for the F-117. When they said, like, we're losing pressure, and we actually see daylight peek in. I'm like, if you're seeing daylight, I think you've already lost
Your pressure's gone. It's gone.
Yeah. It's a very quick sort of thing. It doesn't really, it's not like a slow sort of like, oh, there's a leak. It's, but that's the thing, is that's one of the things that I think is so lovable about this movie is I don't think it's intentional. I think that this is a first-time director he is showing that he is technically minded and absolutely not artistically minded. He's going to get the shot. He's going to print it. He's like, I'm going to go into the editing bay with my editor after this, because that's where I like to be. And I think that there are so many problems with this script when you take a second and go, and other directors would have found a way not to have it be a problem. But I think that Baird, he lucks out because he gets such an incredible cast. We talk about Kurt Russell. We talk about
the casting is
Suchet,
amazing in this.
But you got, we already mentioned J.T. Walsh. You get Halle Berry before she's a mega star with X-Men, but she was still a respected actress. You get, I always forget the actress's name, but she was like a staple of Richard Donner movies of the late 80s and early 90s. The blonde who...
Mary Ellen Trainor.
Allison? Yeah.
She gets engaged just so she can die very early in the story so that we care about her death.
I love Mary Ellen Trainor, and I was genuinely disturbed when she died. I was just like, you emotionally manipulated me, and it worked.
And it absolutely works.
Now you're bad,
because
guys. Now
because the moment that
Yep.
she opens up the wedding present, you're like, oh God, she's gonna die. She's gonna die so hard.
McBain, I'm looking forward to my retirement. I just bought myself a boat. Like that's that moment. You're like, all right, you're dead.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Is like the script has all of these problems. There is something magical that still happens, regardless of how many stars you give this thing, where you're going to come back and rewatch it.
In this script, John, there is a perfect.
I stand
perfect
corrected.
Movie.
My bad. I stand corrected.
I miss the 90s so much.
It is a 90s movie through and through. Like, because something about it, like you're not wrong, John. There are issues, but I don't know, that 90s gloss kind of, you can kind of just be like, you know what? I was entertained. I don't care
That's it.
about the little issues. It was so entertaining. And there wasn't a giant plot hole or a huge issue. It got me through what it needed to, and then I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so glad that you guys brought that up, because I want to mention something. And as we're all Star Wars fans, this will hit home. Somebody online posted a picture of the original Emperor from Empire Strikes Back, and then the special edition Emperor, which is played by Ian McDiarmid.
Right.
Yeah.
So the hologram shot from Empire.
The hologram. Yes. Thank you. The hologram shot when Vader's talking, to the hologram of the Emperor. And it was a young person who was posting it and said, like, hey, do you guys, like, people who saw this in the theaters in the 80s, did you ever wonder what the explanation was for why he looked so different in Empire to how he looked in Return of the Jedi. And the top comment was, well, back in the day, we had a thing that doesn't exist anymore, and it's the suspension of disbelief.
Also, honestly, we had time passing between movies, and the way they did up McDiarmid was as close as they could get. And people didn't have Empire on videotape, so they weren't sitting there, watching it 5,000 times, being like, "Well, what's the discrepancy here?" Like by the time people came back in '83,
and to that exact point you're making, though, Tristan, that wasn't Ian McDiarmid in the theatrical of Empire. It was it was a completely different.
The voice was
person.
Yeah, it was Clive Revel. Yeah.
Hey, look, everybody, there goes the point. What I'm trying to say is,
hey, you use the example that derailed us. You take full credit for this. I am not taking any blame.
You know what? You're right. I brought up a Star Wars fact with a bunch of Star Wars nerds.
Point is a good
with a literal a person from the literal 501st is okay.
Suspension of disbelief. That's what the last thing you said, and then we're like, "You're right, Tristan. You're right."
Yes. Different actor played him. We were fine with it. Yeah. It was no big deal.
Yeah.
You know what a better example?
The movies weren't tied together as much. Sequels and cinematic universes, that wasn't as much.
Oh, Jesus.
I was going to say even better example would be we all rolled with it when Maggie Gyllenhaal came in The Dark Knight to replace Katie Holmes. Fully like 3 or 4 feet taller. And completely different facial structure.
That's a worse example because it takes place after the 90s.
No,
and we weren't all on board with it.
It's a perfect example because I have a weird crush on Maggie Gyllenhaal, so I found an excuse to talk about.
Weird crush on her.
I do.
Anyway, moving on, Darren. One thing I want to mention to you
to
salvage this conversation is that Executive Decision was an old Riddell family favorite.
Oh yes, I want to hear about that.
And so the thing is, though, it was not a worldwide, or I should say universal family favorite. It was half the family. It was me and my dad who really liked it. And, John's talking about showing it to his 8-year-old. I was 10 when this came out, and Dad was showing it to me on VHS, and he straight up bought it. He's like, because he saw the cover.
that great cover. That's all you need to know.
He didn't see it in the theater. He saw Kurt Russell's face with an F-117. He's like, yoink. And he showed it to me. Of course, he watched it first, but he's just like, oh, it gets a little violent at the end, but it's no big deal. He's like, a couple people get shot. No big deal.
I mean, there's no sexuality. It's just blood and language, really.
And they only use the F word once. It's really not that. It's not a hard R at all. But the thing is, my mom walks in right during the surprise scene where they cut out the lights and they kill all the terrorists.
Where most of the blood takes place.
Yeah. And so like right when she walks in, like he and I are watching it and she walks in and her face basically got red with anger. And she was so mad at my dad. And she's like, what are you showing him? And like, this is while everything's going on. This is what she's saying this while John Leguizamo is just lighting a dude up. And my dad got a little embarrassed. And so he got defensive. He's like, it's no big deal. He's like, he sees worse stuff on TV.
Do you know how embarrassed I am right now? Because I had to go double check. I thought this movie was PG-13.
It is not PG-13.
I thought it was PG-13. And even watching it for this show, I thought it was PG-13. I was like, there's nothing in this that says hard R to me. I'm dead serious. Like maybe we all know that I grew up with. No, but like I wouldn't even rate. Like if this came out now, this is like PG practically. Like it's
2024 terms. This is PGB basically. Like this is very low level stuff. And all of us on our text chain, we talked about like the language that's used in it, and they have one F word. I do believe that if this was made today, it would have been rated PG-13. And because Americans have no problem with violence, but we have a problem with the F word, and they have one F word, and I think they used it wisely. I really do.
I agree.
Like when I think it's Cappy saying it's an effing decoy. It's perfect.
Yeah, because he's really upset, and he's got a
Cappy's also really resilient. I'm just going to say with that neck injury because
I mean,
really watching it this time,
we put something on his neck.
His head was immobilized.
He's immobilized. He's okay.
Any further damage is
in
neutral.
the same situation, I would be okay and able to defuse a bomb.
He had morphine in his system, and
he had morphine. He had his mirror.
That's right. Yeah.
He could totally read this complex bomb design backwards.
But that's the thing that I love, and never mind the editing mistake that it shows that the meter is like all the way over on one end when it's supposed to be dead center, and it's like, let it roll. But
ohms, how do they work?
One thing I caught, one little error was when they're first searching for the bomb and he stabs into the luggage compartment, you can see the glued 2 other takes that were slashed into the blue. Yeah. And I never noticed it before. I'm like, oh, I bet you they had to do this a couple of times because I could see right there where take 1 and take 2 and we're on take 3. And then we do see that shot reversed later when he's still checking for the bomb.
But for me,
apparently the cinematographer was replaced.
Oh, that's right.
Like
he wasn't moving fast enough?
Yeah, he wasn't moving fast enough. Like maybe like halfway through, he got replaced by, I think, Silver. I think Joel Silver was just like, you were taking too long. This is too crazy. We need to go faster, which is totally a Silver thing to do. Like I'm saying, like I know him, but that's totally Joel. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's classic Joel.
J-Dog is just, he gets off the hook sometimes.
Well, I mean, to the cinematography then, because we'll jump around. There's lots of fun aspects of this movie to talk about, but I mean, it's well lit. I never feel like I can't tell where I am on the plane at any moment, or it's too dark, like I can't see anything. Like I know when I'm in baggage, we see maps of this plane like a lot. There are a lot of maps. There's a lot of explanation. Like he's given us a PowerPoint presentation as they're setting up. Here are 2 bad guys in the nose. Check. Like it's very clear.
Oh, there's
where we're going.
A lot of credit so far as that goes. There are definitely parts though where, this is just the only clumsy way I can ever think to describe it, but there are moments where it feels like it's shot for TV, where it's just too bright from above, and it feels like that. And it's like there's one scene in specific. I think what you're talking about when Kurt Russell's sitting at the computer and marking off, he's like, he's doing whatever the circuit, the thing like they did in Die Hard, where they were doing the circuit bypasses and everything like that. And he's sitting there in front of the computer, and the lights from overhead don't even match other shots while he's sitting there. And I'm like, that's like, obviously somebody did get replaced. So
it wasn't necessarily going in what it lacks in atmospherics, it makes up for in close-ups. Because by God, this movie has a lot of really awesome close-ups. You want to see this wire being cut? It's going to be the most amazing close-up. You want to see that button on the trigger? You're going to see that. You want to see like it owns close-ups.
Which lends itself to what John was saying is a very TV kind of atmosphere. Like
I agree.
When you have, I liked the way that it was shot. Like I liked it. Felt 90s. It felt, and I'm not. This is such a bad word, but it wasn't stylistic. It was utilitarian. They got the job done. They showed you what they needed to show you.
And
agreed.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, I think that's actually part of the charm of the movie. Is that speaks to its very nature of, look, we all know why we're here. Let's not belabor this. I'm not going to try to trick you into thinking I've made some sort of art house film here. I am here to tell you a story in about 2 hours that's supposed to excite you. What I think is odd, not odd necessarily, I think it was inevitable that Stuart Baird is also listed as one of the editors, because obviously he just couldn't keep himself out of the editing bay.
Yeah.
But boy, the opening of this movie is so clumsy in a lot of ways.
It's so clumsy.
I will agree.
I'm glad you brought that up.
The flashback, the weird taking of Jaffa, like it is
with
really
Jaffa
weird.
and Hassan, there was clearly a sequence that they shot and planned to put in the beginning of the film, and that is probably why Baird has a credit. I bet you that is what the complete conjecture, but I bet you that's why Baird has an editing credit, where this movie was a half an hour longer.
Probably.
And Silver's like, no, this needs to be under the 2-hour limit so we can get more showings and get our
So it was
money
shot
back.
as an actual sequence, and then they're like,
Oh, yeah.
we need this to be almost a memory of like, while we're over here, this is happening over here, and then we keep moving.
Because if you look at the shots and the explosions and the cars going up and everything like that, like money was spent on this scene.
Like, make it black and white and make it 10 times shorter. Like,
well, this was not a second unit kind of scene that they did.
No, you had to use that footage too. Like that was the thing where it was like, shorten the movie, but we need to use this footage. There is no if or anything about that.
I wish I could go back. I swear some of those shots were from Patriot Games. Or
Clear did have a very Patriot Games. Well, this whole movie, it feels like Die Hard. It feels like, a Tom Clancy. Very Tom Clancy vibes.
David Grant is totally Jack Ryan.
Oh,
this movie could have been a Jack Ryan movie.
It's like,
easily.
You caught me in this tuxedo, and I will be wearing it the entire rest of this movie. Like, as the analyst is pulled into the action, like that is a Tom. Yeah, that's exactly that movie.
I think the clumsiness of the beginning definitely lends itself to it feels too long to match up with getting ready to go after the flight. I remember sitting there, and I think one of the worst decisions they made was having the F-117 queue up in a Top Gun-esque sort of shot with that Tony Scott look to it, because I'm sitting there saying, wait, what? Is it a day late? Like, is this tomorrow? Yeah. Like, what's happening right now?
I was like, they're going from Greece to Dulles. Is it sunset already?
Right. You guys really wasted a lot of time fueling up. Like, what's going on here?
I felt the exact same way, John. I'm glad that you brought that up. Yeah, this was okay. So this is basically the same structure as Air Force One.
Mm-hmm. It is
this
also,
movie.
Which when was Air Force One then?
When did Air Force One come out? Was it 98?
I want to say I'm pretty sure it's after this.
Oh yeah, it was definitely after this.
It's contemporary too, though. It's definitely
it was 97. Oh, it was the next year. It was 97.
Yeah. So they were probably making it at the same time.
So this is basically the same structure as Air Force One. When you've seen this film, you've basically seen Air Force One.
That's where the president was. He wasn't here in this movie, so he was off having the Air Force One adventure.
Yeah,
but one thing that I appreciate about Air Force One, even though it's similar stories, is that at the beginning you have they got Jaffa, in Air Force One. Like, we see the SEALs pick him up. Boom, he's picked up. We see the president in Russia give his speech. So we establish the character of the president. Then he gets on Air Force One, and then we have the movie. It's basically two scenes. We have the hostage taking, and then character development. Boom, movie. This movie, Executive Decision, would have benefited from a little bit more streamlined opening.
Yes.
Of the hostage, Kurt Russell, plane.
Well, and not only the hostage, because before that, we have the cold open, which is the bad intel. And that's pretty much just there to establish why Austin Travis doesn't like him. Like, that is the reason for that sequence. And it's like, it's kind of character, but it's a lot of time to waste on character development for a character that's going to die and not interact with him.
Totally could have been cut. Could have been cut.
Although it is 90% of Steven Seagal's.
Yeah, Mr. Seagal would have been very unhappy about that, I think. But that speaks to, I think, what's difficult is you could sit there and you could blame, like I would. I'm like, oh, well, the script could have been reworked. But I think that they had, to your point, Tristan, a longer opening, a longer build, and then it just got cut down to nothing. And that's why it feels so weird. Is Stuart Baird.
Once they're on the plane, is golden. But getting there is harder.
It is harder, and that's the thing that's tough. Is I think the first time you watch it, it's easy to forgive it because you get there quick enough, and they follow the rule of an action movie: just get to the action as fast as you can. Boom, we're off and running. But then when you watch it a few more times, you're like, yeah, okay, I got to be honest with myself. This could have gone better, guys.
Well, when we're remembering it, when we're thinking back of it, I don't think of the first part. I almost am surprised every time when I rewatch. I'm like, oh yeah, this part I forgot about it, because once we get to on the Nighthawk, we're good.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's it's now let's go around now. Again, we'll stop on budget for a second because we usually talk about that. This did decent, 55 million budget and 122 million box office, and I'm pretty sure it did well in the DVD market. So it's not a failure by any means.
It's actually a good success. It more than doubled its budget, meaning it covered all of its marketing costs.
That's great.
Yeah, 100 million was considered a blockbuster back then.
That's right.
And although I think post Titanic we started getting a little greedy about what our success metric was. Yeah. But it really is one of those things where I think budget wise it did exactly what it's supposed to do. I don't think they had any sort of aspirational idea that this was going to become a next genre shifting Die Hard sort of thing.
They weren't trying to make a new Tom Clancy, but not Tom Clancy. You know what I mean?
But it's best of both worlds because you get one of the producers from Die Hard. You have Die Hard on a plane, but then you also have the SEAL team on there. So you also have that vibe of a Tom Clancy
Commando
story.
or, kind of an Arnold picture. Yeah. No, yes, on paper, concept is absolutely ridiculous. Like a SEAL team boards with a new prototype plane to overcome a hijacking.
Well,
makes no sense, but it doesn't matter because it's awesome. And so we're just going to roll with it.
I would love to think that my government would go to those great lengths to make sure my plane didn't get shot out of the sky.
I don't think so.
However, the cynic in me says, if I were on that plane, I would just make peace with the Lord because I'm not landing and I'm not making it halfway across the Atlantic either. I'm just going down and then they'll invent some story about whatever. And it's like, the thing is though, but to talk about what you're talking about, the ludicrous thing, even the concept of how the terrorist is going to deliver all of this nerve gas is a ludicrous concept to begin with.
Right, this is blow up in the air or something over DC, I guess.
Yes, this is the clunkiest, dumbest possible way you could try to disperse this nerve. Like you're pretty much guaranteeing that you would just get shot down. The simple fact that he's in the air to be taken out by the SEAL team is a movie thing. That plane's just exploded they're like, oh, look, and he has all of this stuff on it. Great, shoot it down. Like that's it. That's all that happens. And so you really have to go along for the ride. But that I think is what makes it fun is because it does embrace that whole mustache twirling, although they had Suchet without a mustache because I suppose he would have looked too much like Poirot.
You can't put a mustache on him in this movie. That's not going to work.
But that's what makes it fun. Is it's like, look, we all know this isn't ever going to be real, and I love the fact that they use the stewardess cover to have Halle Berry have a role because she helps land the plane. And I think it's the next year we had the movie Turbulence, where was it Lauren Holly lands the plane in that one, the one with Ray Liotta.
So, yeah.
And that one's a peach. If you want stretching believability, this is 100% documentary fact compared to Turbulence. So we're good.
Well, but I think like we said at the very beginning, there's the suspension of disbelief. There's the gloss of the mid 90s of it's an enjoyable story. Like I don't care if it's not factually possible or anything like that. I love, I have a whole list of like little moments I love. I love the trumpet playing when Rat shows the USA patch on his jacket. Like it's so corny, but I love it because it's just like America is here. We are here to like take back the plane. And I'm just like, that's awesome. That's such a cool shot.
In the 90s, we were all thrilled with the fall of the Berlin Wall. And we were like, we're the super people. Nobody can stop us now. And so this slots right into that mood. And, it's also one of those things where, you talk about that moment. There's a moment at the end that is so movie, but I love it and it's inevitable, where all the guys, as they're loading Cappy rather clumsily into the ambulance and they all salute him.
Wait, hey guys, stop. don't finish putting me in the ambulance. Wait while I'm tilted at a 45-degree angle because we want to make eye contact with our bro over there.
Totally. And like
Anne
Halle Berry. And Halle Berry was just like, hey, you want to go to the Pentagon? Like, you mean she's not going to be debriefed? Like, they're not going to ask her questions about the terrorists that she had a lot of interactions with?
I'm like, wait a minute. So they're going to let you guys outside of this perimeter? No, they're not.
No,
There's
but
no
see,
way.
This is where you have to go out of the box thinking. He was actually tricking her to get in there so that they could take her off to be interrogated in a black site somewhere off U.S. soil.
By that point in the very end, we're just shy of hearing, the weather outside was frightful as the end of Die Hard. It is the end of Die Hard.
It
like,
is.
It's not even trying to not be the end of Die Hard.
So with one thing that always bugs me is that the last line in this movie is an inside joke.
Oh, the baseball one.
Yeah, because like when I was a kid and I watched this, I was like, what the hell does that mean? And he's like, oh, at the time she's married to a baseball player. She's married to
a baseball player, yeah.
I was like, wait, she's married to a baseball player, but yet she's flirting with Kurt Russell. Like, no, Halle Berry is married to a baseball player.
You realize I never knew that until this moment.
You didn't until this moment. So, like, how did that line hit you at the end?
Yeah,
I just thought it was crappy writing because they wanted to end it like Die Hard. I was like,
it was crappy writing. It was a wink to the audience that did not matter, and it was so off-putting. I hated how that ended because it should have ended with him saying, "Hey, do you like hockey?" Because it's a callback to him and then hitting on the previous woman.
That's it. Yeah, because he's always hitting on every and the one that said yes, he got taken away for this mission, and he's like, "Oh, buddy."
You have to applaud his resilience, though, to have dating on his mind after everything he's gone through. I mean, he got Steven Seagal killed. Cappy might never walk again based on the level of damage that he's endured. A bunch of people died. U.S. Air Marshal has 2 holes in his belly. But you know what? He's still trying to make time. So, kudos.
You get Halle Berry into a town car and you're driving to the Pentagon. You got to shoot your shot.
I just want to say, as somebody who grew up in DC Metro, by the way, when he pulls up from Dulles, which, hate to break it to you, gents, is not in Washington, D.C., and he pulls up and he goes, oh, it's Frederick Field. Frederick Field, also not terribly close to Washington, D.C. Frederick, Maryland, rather north of Washington, D.C. Dulles Airport, rather south of Washington, D.C. And so
that's the thing, though. It's just like O'Hare. O'Hare's not in Chicago.
Right.
It's in Rosemont. But you go to O'Hare if you want to go to Chicago.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
I know. And it's definitely one of those things where you have to say, they're not from the area. But as somebody who grew up in the area, it is definitely one of those things where everybody has that happen. Anybody who's been around Chicago or somebody from California, where it's like, yeah, that's not. Okay,
right.
It's fine.
Like everyone,
it's fine. We'll go with it.
Yeah, we've all seen, or I've seen like dramas or whatever taking place in California, and they're just driving around in the afternoon and they hit like all the landmarks. I'm like, okay, no, like traffic, there's no way you're going from Disneyland to Griffith to the beach in one day. That's not going to happen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like that wasn't during your lunch break. That was a 6-hour drive that you just had.
Yeah, and no
people
traffic.
don't realize how huge California is.
Oh, it's really big. Yeah.
So, okay, I would love to talk more about, we touched on this just from the conversation, but what a great cast.
Yeah. I wanted to hit characters next. Yeah. It's, the characters that live, the characters that die. There's all sorts of characters in this one. So I have it color coded on my list because I'm like, okay, who actually, because sometimes it was hard for me to tell how many security special forces were still on the plane. There's like not that many. There's only 4. There's Baker, Louis, Cappy, and Rat. And I am a sucker for a good 1-word commando name. I love it. It's the best. And we got Grant and we got but yeah, it's really, really well cast. Like I found myself paying more attention to Baker this time because he's the most minor of the ones. Like he does the Morse code at the end. and he doesn't get all the lines. He's definitely not like the top tier acting wise as far as getting more of the dialogue. But I'm like, even he's carrying his scenes. Like they all do a really good job.
I feel like Baker got more lines than Louis though than BD Wong. I feel like BD Wong was probably had the smallest role out of all the guys. Am I alone in this?
No, you might be right. I just know BD Wong more, so every time he was on screen, I noticed he was there. But that's a good point.
Every time I see Whip Hubley, though, I think Hollywood from Top Gun. That's all that I can think of.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, yeah. Which just makes fun that he's grousing about the Navy pilots.
Well,
it's hilarious.
What I think is also really, really something where Baird lucks out with this cast is I don't get the sense of a director giving a ton of notes. And so if one or two of these roles is miscast, he's sort of screwed with the movie overall, because I don't get the sense of somebody who's providing a lot of subtle direction to his cast about motivation or anything like that. We talked about how these shots just look like get the shot, get it done, get it out, right? And we're done and we're going to go edit it and we're going to go fix it. I think that what comes across to me with this viewing, at least, is every one of these people showed up and just understood the assignment. And so the director didn't have to do a whole ton with them to make it work. You cast JT Walsh and you just say, you're a senator who's trying to make his bones and you're going to get shot in the face.
You're going to get Ellis'd. So I'm sorry.
And it's like, and JT Walsh is like, yeah, I got that. Right. Check cleared. Great. This is like 2 days work. Okay, cool. I'm out. Right.
Yeah.
Like
David Suchet, be intense and go.
Use the low voice, not the high Poirot voice. Use your normal speaking voice and it will terrify everybody.
Yeah. Stare at Halle Berry really intently and cut. Great. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
That was such a weird dynamic that I loved playing with between Hassan and Jean. Like David Suchet and Halle Berry. Like it was this, I don't know how to explain it, just this begrudging respect that Suchet had for Barry, where that was a very brave
he's
thing.
Like, I'm not a man. He's like, I'm not a monster, but I'm also the terrorist. Like it made me think of in, like you said, in Air Force One, you have again, it's just that kind of villain where they're trying to be charming. It's a weird dynamic. Yeah.
I actually viewed him more like Jeremy Irons in Die Hard with a Vengeance, where the guy's a monster and he's a murderer, but then he has these weird moments of humanity where it's like, where you were mentioning, Tristan, that was very brave, but not necessary.
Yeah, that line specifically was a really good line.
Yeah, I think that's closer than Oldman in Air Force One, because I feel like Oldman in Air Force One is like he's fanatical. Like Oldman in Air Force One, like
he's chewing scenery.
Air Force One.
Well, I'm thinking more when she's talking to the secretary on the phone, and he's like, "How's your blouse?" Like he's trying to be charming on the phone. That portion, but I get what you're saying. I think your example.
I wasn't trying to discount what you were saying, but there's so many parallels between these two movies, and not just that it's a plane, but also I think every movie is better with Oliver Platt than it would have been without Oliver Platt.
Completely agree.
Yeah, he did great. He was like, it's like when you've, what's an example? It's like when you have a gathering of friends and everyone's ready to go to the ball game or something, and then somebody's cousin tags along that you don't know, and nobody cares who this guy is, and you're just like, oh, hey, we got enough room on the bus, sure. Like you've already picked teams, and it's really awkward when you bring them in at the end. Like there was definitely that vibe. They're like, Cahill can't do it, but he played it so well.
Right. And to extend your analogy there, right? That friend winds up being like the life of the party. He gets like a beer or two in him, and suddenly like he's telling the best jokes and everything. Like, I'm so glad this guy's here with me. This is great.
He's also the only guy who knows how to change the tire on the bus when it breaks down.
Yes. Right? Yes, right? Exactly. Yeah,
like you guys wouldn't even gotten out of the bay without me.
Platt had a moment in the 90s, and it was a really great moment, and I really wish the guy had more fame than he got, because I've always respected him as an actor. I think that he's really got a great screen presence, and he definitely plays a type. But when he played that type, it was just absolutely exactly what you needed. And for all I know, he retired because he got sick of the business or something like that.
No.
But
like, I liked his West Wing role. I also seeing him on. He's been in a lot of medical.
He's
stuff
still working.
recently.
He works consistently. He's kind of transferred to TV.
There you go.
Like he's done a lot of episodes. He's done 172 episodes in Chicago Med.
Yeah,
and he was also in Chicago Fire as the same character.
Chicago Good. Then he's having the success, just not on not on the media channel that I watch. So
yeah,
I'm
like
glad
he plays Daniel Charles in the whole Chicago emergency universe,
cinematic universe.
That's called. Yeah.
Yes, the television cinematic universe, the TCU.
But I always know him from Porthos from the Three Musketeers and Rupert from Bicentennial Man. Like, those are my two favorite Oliver Platt roles.
I always think of him from Flatliners, because that was the first time I encountered him on screen, and so it's just stuck with me. And that, House of Schumacher, maybe on the docket, who knows? I'd be fine with it, to be honest.
I'd be down with that.
Including his Batman movies.
Oh my gosh! No, yes, I love those movies. I do. I genuinely love Batman Forever. Batman and Robin is fun to watch, but I love Batman Forever.
Batman Forever I love in the sense of like a fast food meal that I eat, and afterward I'm disgusted with myself, but I enjoyed it while I was eating it. And then like at the end, I'm like, oh, all right, I don't like myself. But
speaking of character actors, though, like Oliver Platt and everything like that, Joe Morton. We've raved about Joe Morton on this podcast. There's nothing more to be said, really. It's just he's Joe Morton.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he was in the LAPD, had that terrible fiasco with the bus, and joined Special Forces, and look what happened to him. Yeah, I mean, he's basically playing the same guy. It's a, military cappy.
But he listen, Morton is...
He does more from that backboard than many other characters who can move around.
You're absolutely right, but it's I think it's just another example of where Silver handed an incredible cast of actors to his first-time director and said, if you fail with this is the only movie you're ever going to direct. Like, this was almost just absolutely fail-safe, idiot-proof cast to throw at somebody. Like, you would have to be the absolute worst project manager in the world not to get good performances out of these people. Like, that is the biggest praise I can give you. Even Leguizamo on his still upward trend of visibility and success.
I did notice more jokes coming at him this time. Like, they've always been there, but I picked up on him more. I'm like, you were kind of cracking jokes a lot in this.
Apparently he did a lot of improv. And it really pissed off Kurt Russell. Like, it really pissed off Kurt Russell.
Really? I don't know this part of it.
Really? Yeah, like Leguizamo constantly went off script, and Russell is very much a if it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage kind of actor. And it
when he
threw
was,
him off. Like, there's
his shoes, and he's like, oh, if the smell doesn't give us away. I think that caused problems.
I think Russell, according to lore, Russell apparently took offense to that, and there's reports of that it got physical, but I don't know how much I believe of that.
I highly doubt that, because Kurt Russell has been in the business for so long, and he was in fact a pawn in the great Disney empire. I don't think that he'd ever do something that would put that at risk.
But I can see him.
What I
upset,
do believe, I can see him getting upset, absolutely. But what I do believe is the other story that Leguizamo himself talked about, where Steven Seagal got physical with him, where
totally believable.
They were doing training, kind of like boot camp that like some actors go through whenever there's military stuff. And Steven Seagal took it super seriously, and like said, like, I'm the law here. You guys are going to do what I'm saying. I'm the leader of this outfit. And Leguizamo thought he was joking. Like, he's like, surely he's not being serious. And so he started laughing.
I am serious. Don't call me Shirley.
And Seagal threw him up against a brick wall so hard that it knocked the wind out of him, out of Leguizamo.
Now, see, that's one of those things where, you hear stories like that every so often, and it sort of goes into Hollywood lore where you go, oh, wow, people take things really intensely and stuff like that. I know of no other, I mean, let's be honest, workplace situation.
Fired. You would be done. It's like you physically threw your coworker against the wall because of words. You're not only
fired, you're being sued. And you're not getting compensation for anything.
Being detained. Yeah.
That's always going to be the weirdest thing when you hear stories like that out of Hollywood.
My name commands millions of dollars, so I can be a,
bad
person.
I don't get
think
it, man.
that's the thing is that I've worked with billionaires before, and I've worked in an industry that trades in billions. And there's so many times when say like, oh, like we went through HR training and everything like that. If somebody said this, what would you do? And it's so many times where you're just like, well, I'd keep my mouth shut because he keeps the lights on. And they're like, oh, well, no, that's not true. I was like, yes, it is. And that's the thing with Hollywood is that like you're trading hundreds of millions of dollars sometimes. And those people who command those roles, you just kind of roll with it. And like that's why we have this is the 90s, this is why like so much more visibility is happening right now with social media and people coming out and saying like, oh, it's not okay to be a dick anymore, like it's not okay to be that jerk boss.
Let's be humans with each other.
Exactly. Let's be humans with each other. But yeah, so like, Leguizamo himself talked about it, and I think during his stand-up routine, and talked about how much of a jerk Seagal was, and how like Seagal like said like, I never want to see you on a red carpet again, or something like that. And Leguizamo said like, I don't think you're invited to that many red carpets.
The thing I read
God
was
bless
that
him.
he showed
God
up early
bless
the day that Steven Seagal was filming his death scene so he could watch him die. I'm like, ooh, okay.
That sounds like Leguizamo. I don't believe the Russell thing, but I totally believe the Seagal thing.
Yeah, I could believe somebody like Kurt Russell saying, "Hey, come on, just tell me what you're going to say beforehand, please." Because again, he went off script, but at the same time, Russell's been in the business long enough that there are definitely moments on set where you just do a quick rewrite of something.
Good. They were nice little jokes. I didn't feel like he was the clown. Like I still respected him and it also worked because he was Rat. He was the leader of those that were left. So you kind of gave him a little bit of breathing room because you're like, he's kind of carrying the torch.
That's one thing I liked about his character was, even though I'm not a big Leguizamo fan, one thing I liked about his character is that like he was definitely like he was hot-headed and he wanted to get things done.
Gotta get it done.
He's like, he just wanted to get it done. He's like, we'll risk it. We'll risk it. We'll do it. And even though he was angry, he would yell. When his men spoke up, he listened.
And they're like, give him 5 minutes.
And it's just like, that's the thing. Like he didn't try to pull rank. He never said, I'm in charge now. It was like it was clear that he was in charge, but at the same time, he didn't throw his weight around. I really appreciated that from a character standpoint.
No, definitely.
I agree.
Last character actor, just to round it out, Richard Ryle, sure, the U.S. Air Marshal. You look at him for 1 second, and you're like, "That's a U.S. Air Marshal." Like it's so well cast. I'm like, you didn't even need to say anything. I didn't even need to see your badge and gun. Just a shot of you, and then a shot of the manifest where the Air Marshal is signed. I'll be like, "Yep, that's him." Although
I will say that the most beautiful thing and a testament to his versatility is that a few years later, he has a terrific role that is completely nothing like this one in Office Space. And just squaring those two characters in my brain, I'm like, that's what a character actor does, everybody. Is he gets that specific character across as quickly as possible on screen. True. And that guy was just perfectly cast, to your point, Darren, where it's like, they didn't even need to show me hiding his badge. It's like, that's an Air Marshal. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like, and Richard Riley, he gets work. He is constantly
deserves
working.
it. He absolutely deserves it. Yeah. So that brings, our new favorite segment into light.
I think that's a great segue to our new favorite segment. We joked about it last week, but you know what? We're going to do it. I put it in our spreadsheet, so thus it be done. We're going to talk about which role Lance Reddick should play in this movie, because every movie is better with Lance Reddick. Let's start with you, Tristan. Who do you think, either character name or actor, should have been or would have been interesting as Lance Reddick?
And just so everybody knows, this is something that we're going to do every week, whether you like it or not. And it is, and we've all determined this beforehand. Like everybody has this before we started recording. We knew who we were going to write down and who we were going to say, and no one can change their minds, even though like somebody might give a better answer. To me, I think Lance Reddick would have made a perfect Baker, played by Whip Hubley, also known as Hollywood from Top Gun. The guy who puts the clip in at the beginning and who does the Morse code and everything like that. I think he would have been absolutely perfect and given a nice, dry sense of humor. That's my answer. Baker.
No, that's good.
Fair.
Yeah, it's sometimes hard to place Lance because it's like he's not one note, but he has a certain tone that he can drive. What do you think, John? Where are you placing good friend Lance?
I didn't put him on the plane. I actually would have replaced Len Carew. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. The Secretary of Defense, Charles White.
Is that the guy who says it's an executive decision?
Yep. The head of the table, giving the orders to everybody, speaking for the president, the obvious embodiment of authority. I got Reddick in there.
Okay, so what rules are we going with? Are we going with whatever age Lance Reddick, age of the time Lance Reddick, or just Lance Reddick, the embodiment of Lance Reddick?
I think the embodiment of Lance Reddick, because
I think that's a good idea.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Skynet invents a time machine and takes Lance Reddick and puts him where we want him to be at the right time in the right embodiment.
I'm going to make a special effects division to insert Lance Reddick into whatever movie we want.
Because we could be reviewing a movie from the 60s and be like, okay, where's Lance Reddick going to be on this?
No, it's good. It doesn't matter.
Good answer.
The age of the time. That's too limiting, Tristan. We must embrace. It was hard because, again, it's like you want to give him like the good lines. Maybe this was the predictable one. I love Joe Morton. I think he did an amazing job. But if I had to put him in, I went back and forth between like Cappy and Cahill. I kind of wanted to see like him going up against Joe Morton, but I put him in Cappy's slot. I know.
Fair enough. I
don't want to lose Joe, but
we've got Lance in. I think it's fascinating because we've got Reddick in 3 different spots this time. What's going to be fascinating about this is when we have Reddick in this, like it's going to happen at some point in the future where Reddick winds up in the same role for all 3 of us. And I look forward to that day. I think
we kind of all agreed, or we liked the thought of him as the CEO of Mattel. We didn't dive too deeply into it, but we did.
That's what started this trend.
Yep.
So now we give our real ratings.
Yes, not our Lance ratings, because that's always a 5. All right, I'm just going to go first because, to no surprise to anybody, I'm giving this a 5. We did point out some little plot flaws, but it's 1996. It's a nice March day. You're watching Kurt Russell kick butt on an airplane, and you've got beautiful model work, great character choices and acting. It's just a fun movie, and I rewatch this often and enjoy it every time. So 5 stars from Darren. Tristan, why don't you tell us if your mother coming in and yelling at your father was enough to drive down the star ratings, or has it climbed back up in the intervening years?
This is one of those things where like I really battle with what to rate it, because I genuinely love this movie. I think it's great, and I rewatch it a lot. I really do. I think it's so much fun. But when you try to look at it objectively, and you look at like some of the stuff that John talked about, like with even though like the cinematography, it's very TV. The opening is so messy. It's so messy. The opening is just, it really knocks it down for me. Like from it, and like some of the writing here and there, some of the performance, like the whole like 21K, like it's stuff like that. Like it's a perfect 90s movie. And we all know what that means. It's a great 90s film, but the fact that I have to qualify it by saying 90s, I give it 3 stars, but a loving 3 stars. Like this is a great movie, but it's a 3-star movie.
Yeah, I wanted to raise my rating from the last time I watched it, but I stick with a 3 as well. It's not a guilty pleasure because it's not bad. It's not something where it's like, oh, ha, 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 I enjoy Batman Forever, which is garbage, but I love it anyway. I did that on purpose. This is it's a first movie, and I totally get why, because I mentioned my father-in-law coming in and sitting down. Grandpa sits down. And at the end, Grandpa was literally belly laughing at the plane landing sequence where he's like, oh my gosh, come on. This is just absolutely off. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah. Or I have to say to my 8-year-old, yeah, just roll with it. And I'm ashamed now because I literally thought this was PG-13. I never would have shown her an R-rated movie.
You kind of should be ashamed. Like you texted us last night that you showed it to her, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, listen, I saw my first R-rated movie when I was 6. So, it's a fine family tradition.
That's how they roll in the Mills house.
Yeah, we're all libertarians, but like it's a solid 3. I love it. I'll watch it again sometime in the next year or two. What are you going to do? And I still say this is at worst a PG-13. Like this is Batman level violence.
Oh, like it is, by today's standards.
Yeah, this is not that bad. And I wouldn't have a problem with my kids seeing Batman. So
this is more blood than a Batman film.
Oh, please. First and foremost, like I said, she's like, how do they make the fake blood work? I'm like, well, honey, but on top of that,
I'm not saying it's realistic.
Oh, please.
I'm not saying.
Everybody overlooks that in Batman, a guy's dropped into a chemical vat that's dumping raw like all of its chemical waste into a river, and he's turned into a menacing clown. That's not terrifying.
I feel like we've wandered here.
We have a little bit, just a little bit.
Just remember Lance, guys. Remember the union joy of Lance,
the spirit of Lance Reddick.
Yeah,
and don't tell my wife I showed my kid this movie.
Well, if she
Darren, what are we doing next week?
I don't know if we can help. Well, next week, we're jumping to 1998 with Stuart's next movie, U.S. Marshals, Tommy Lee Jones, here on Houselights.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.